6th-ranked Oregon gets it done, albeit in my opinion, barely. We have done a lot of discussions about the offensive side, the defensive side of things, the weather that impacted today's game, and actually, we're going to get to another person right now that can speak to the weather, I think, not just firsthand, but can probably give us the best perspective of anybody down on the field. That would be one sideline reporter, Dusty Harrah. Dusty, are you okay? Are you dry? You were in a literal monsoon at times today, brother. Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm good, man. It was raining hard. I mean, I was talking to Rob Mullins down on the sideline, the athletic director, and he was, we were talking about the rain coming down. He's like,
Yeah.
This is the worst that we've had it in a long time. I mean, and everybody that has been around the program for a long time is that the closest game that even compares to it is the 2013 Cal game, where Jared Goff was in his very first Pac-12 start against the Ducks, and one of his first pass attempts, it went backwards, and he just fumbled the ball trying to throw it. That one was probably worse. I was at that game too, but this one was up there just because the wind was different than that game, because it didn't matter which direction you were going, the wind was in your face. I mean, it was one of the weirdest things. It was swirling wind. The American flag was going one way. The flags on the tip of the goalposts were going in the opposite directions of each other. It was crazy, and how steady and strong the gusts were. It was different, but I'm dry. I always come prepared, so I was wearing waterproof everything, had a change of jacket, another sweatshirt ready to go at halftime, had to do the pit stop and make sure everything was dry, but I'm dry. I'm good. I'm warm.
I think you need to give a little education to fellow fan employee Joe Fisher then on how to avoid trench foot going forward, because he is not as dry as you, Dusty. I did want to ask you, actually, it's a perfect starting point that you bring up that 2013 game featuring Cal and a very tiny-handed or slippery-handed Jared Goff, whatever you want to call him. But there was a bit of a similar situation, at least possibly today, when Brock Thomas came in, because initially Dante Moore was hit in the nose. You saw it on the TV broadcast, blood everywhere, pouring out, just a forearm from one of the defensive players right in between where that face mask is, and just, able to slip in there. And I was wondering if it was more because of injury that Dante Moore was kept out, or maybe Lanning staying with Brock Thomas going forward because he's a local kid. He's a Sheldon High School kid. He's maybe more used to dealing with a wet ball than Dante Moore, California guy?
No, I mean, Dante Moore's from Detroit, so I think it's wet over there.
Okay, yeah.
But no, if Dante Moore would have been completely healthy, he would have gone back in the game. I mean, you could tell they were still trying to win. The offense operated well under Brock, and I think that's why you sit there and you feel more comfortable with it. Okay. I think if it came down to it and they absolutely needed Dante Moore back in, they would. But I think that really played a role in how that game played out in the second half, especially because after the 99-yard drive, Oregon broke the back of Wisconsin, and the offense was operating at an insanely high clip. You saw that the run game got fixed. I mean, they had negative 16 yards rushing in that first quarter. Well, they ran for 224 after that. Mm-hmm. Actually 240 something, because they took knees at the end of the game that affect your total yardage. They were at 224 before they started taking knees. So the run game did get figured out. It was slow to start, and Wisconsin was showing some stuff that they've done much of all year, and they tried to pull the page out of the Indiana playbook. And look, every team's going to try that with the simulated pressure and not knowing where guys are going. And it caught them in that, sure, that's concerning, but it would be more concerning if they didn't rectify that. And they did. The final three quarters, they run for over 220 yards or 240 yards, because you're making up for the negative 16. I mean, they got after it in the run game after that, and they were popping big runs. They were controlling the line of scrimmage after that. The start, sure, very concerning, but it would be far more concerning if they didn't adapt to it, and I thought they did over the course of the game.
Yeah, the team definitely looking a bit listless to come out, but I really do think that the weather affected both teams at different times today, Dusty. I mean, we all almost saw Dante Moore losing the ball, trying to pump fake it at one point, a lot of fumbles that Wisconsin then recovered after exchanges from the quarterback to the running back. You were talking about sideways rain. You mentioned it here just at the start, but also during the game, just listening to you describe that. It was a mess down there. Do you think the weather ended up giving one team an advantage over the other?
Yeah, I definitely do. Wisconsin, it gets cold. It's very windy there. I mean, heck, Oregon played at Wisconsin last year, and it was 45-mile-an-hour winds the entire game.
Yeah.
But they didn't have rain like that, and like they had today. And although it didn't happen in the first quarter and a half, when the rain really did start coming down, the ball was slick. They fumbled 4 times. I think they recovered all 4 of them, but they had 4 fumbles on the day. They can't throw the ball well anyways, but they really couldn't throw the ball today.
Yeah.
And it definitely affected Wisconsin a ton, but it affected Oregon too. Make no mistake about it. I mean, we saw a bunch of high snaps from Poncho as the rain really came down, and when the ball's out there, it doesn't matter how long the ball is uncovered for on the ground. It's going to get drenched when it was raining as hard as it was. And, I mean, there's very few times, the Oregonians, we know all the different kinds of rain. This was a downpour that is not normal. And when that rain really started coming, you saw snaps were difficult. I thought Brock Thomas did a really good job on a lot of those bad snaps to still hand the ball off and get the ball in the mesh point and really control things in that second half. But it did affect both teams. I think it definitely affected Wisconsin a little bit more.
Talking with Sideline Reporter Dusty Harrah here, breaking down Oregon's 21-7 win on the Ducks postgame scoreboard show on 105.1 The Fan and the Fan Sports Network. Dusty, one storyline coming into the game today was surrounding Wisconsin coach Luke Fickell. Has basically been a dead man walking, especially the last 2 weeks. Scoreless performances leading up to their game against Oregon. Surprisingly, at the end, able to get a touchdown there. And at times, Wisconsin was able to copy the Indiana model and confuse Oregon a little bit and smother them with pressure. So that being said, did Luke Fickell save his job with the way the Badgers were able to blanket Oregon at times? Or does the late success again by Oregon today, that pick to kind of, put a cork in everything for Wisconsin, does that keep his ass on the hot seat? Like, I'm just surprised he hasn't been canned yet.
I mean, it's warm, but that wasn't a team that quit on their coach. And I think that when universities fire coaches mid-season, you can tell that they've quit on their coach.
Yeah. And
that wasn't the case. They played really hard. They played like a team that wanted to save their coach's job. I don't know if it does. They haven't had an 0-for season in Big Ten play since Barry Alvarez's first year in 1990, and they may be looking down the barrel of that. But I don't know. You got the vote of confidence from the AD this past week. They're going into a bye. If you're going to make the change, do it now. But, I mean, Luke Fickell can still coach. He didn't forget how to coach between Cincinnati and Wisconsin. I think that there is a reality in Madison that they need to step their game up if they want to level the playing field with the elite teams in college football. And, funding is a big part of that. And once they can kind of figure that part out, then you can figure out if Luke Fickell's the right guy for the job. I think also now in the era of the transfer portal, roster retention is at a premium, and the great coaches are doing that.
Yeah.
And there's been a lot of turnover at Wisconsin. So, I mean, if you're not going to take the success on the field, then you take the success off the field once the season ends and see how many guys are going to be entering the portal. And if it is a mass exodus again, then I do think you see definitely a change at Wisconsin.
All right, Dusty, wrap it up with this. After watching Oregon today, do you think the Ducks are truly a top 5 team in the nation right now?
Winning's hard. I don't care who you are.
Damn right.
Winning is very hard. And it's not something that everybody can do at a really high level. And Oregon's only loss is the number 2 team in the country. I don't know if they're top 5, but I think outside of Ohio State and Indiana, I think there's a really big clump of teams that are just in that 3 through 8 mix that I don't know what to make of them. And I think Oregon is in that clump right now. I think that we're going to find out a lot about them in these final 4 games of the season. And right now, I mean, they're 7-1, and I think we get so caught up and we become prisoners of the moment with making style matter. Who gives a rip about style, right? Like, Oregon was up 21-0, and this week, with the weather, with the fact that you have a bye week coming up, and you're playing an opponent that hasn't won a game in league, you know, everybody was saying, like, oh, they're going to roll them. It's going to be 35-0 a half. I said I'd be happy with 28-7 as, like, a final, and, like, you're good and you're comfortable. Wisconsin didn't get a touchdown on the board until they were down by 3 scores, right? Like, being up by 3 scores is not easy. Doesn't matter who you're playing, right? Like, Wisconsin has scholarship players too.
Well, in a game like that, it felt
great.
like it was a 40-point lead. At least it felt like in a rainy game like that too.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't even throw the ball for 100 yards, right? Like, I think we get very nitpicky with the style points. But I mean, to answer your question, I don't know. I don't know where the peak is that Oregon is at, but I don't know where the floor is either. So they are a top 8 team in college football right now. I mean, you still have Ole Miss, who's sitting there perfect. Texas A&M is sitting there perfect. Indiana and Ohio State are as well. But if you're telling me about the one-loss teams, yeah, I'll put Oregon up there with anybody. I mean, look, Alabama struggled against South Carolina today, right?
Yep.
A game that was far closer. And now South Carolina isn't a winless team in their conference, but winning is hard on a week-to-week basis, and Oregon has been taking care of their business. And, you know, Dan Lanning is now 1 regular season loss seasons. I think the staff is really good. Good when you have true freshmen scoring 19 of your 41 touchdowns this year.
Yeah.
They're doing it with a mixture of young and old guys. And as those guys develop and grow, I think we'll see where the peak of this Oregon team is. But they definitely are a top 10 team. They're definitely a top 8 team. But top 5, I mean, it doesn't really matter until you get to the playoff and what those teams in those matchups look like. We're going to really find out.
Well, one thing we can agree on, Dusty, is, winning is hard. I really appreciate you taking the time, though, on your way home, man. Appreciate it. Get home safe. And I am so excited for a Ducks bye on Halloween week. And hopefully they can, as you say, it's a business week, this right, or a business trip? What do they say when it's a bye week?
So they call it, Dan Lanning calls it a work week.
Thank you.
It's not a bye week. It's a work week for the Ducks, which, I mean, I don't know. These guys, they're all crazy. So they are going to be maniacal in what they do. They're going to come back, go to the doctor tomorrow where they watch film, and then they're going to practice all week long. It's not a bye week for everybody, man.
I am amazed at the work ethic that coaching staff has instilled in these kids, man. I hope they get to have some fun, but yeah, excited to see what they do with the week off before their matchup against Iowa. Sideline reporter Dusty Harrah checking in, helping us break down the 21-7 win for number 6 Oregon over Wisconsin. Dusty, appreciate you, and we'll talk to you soon, brother.
All right, later, man.
Later. All right, wave at him as he goes. Sideline reporter Dusty Harrah. Yeah, he needs to get... I know he was able to, protect himself. Sounds like he's dry, but he's earned himself a hot shower, too, man. I'm serious. Just those ponchos made it look so uncomfortable for fans all at the game around the stadium. Joe Fisher on the YouTube says there were puddles in the front row. It was a mess. Oh, just so happy that Oregon was able to, I will call it escape with a 21-7 win over Wisconsin. We got to get out to a break, but when we come back, I'd like to review the score predictions that Dirt and Anthony left this morning. They were off.
Oh, boy.
I will review my score prediction from earlier this week. It was way off as well.
Yikes.
And I actually think what Dusty just said about he being happy with like a 28-3 win, he was probably the closest out of every single fan personality here on the Fan Sports Network this week. So we'll get to that coming up next, and I'll also ask a question about the college football playoff rankings and how Oregon stacks up after their win, at least escape of a win against Wisconsin. A lot more people thought it would be more dominant than it was, but yeah, they still got the win.